Are we live? I think we're live. Welcome to the Resonance Code. I'm so excited. We're going to give everybody a minute to join. My name is Eva Falakova. I am your host of this, hopefully very much of a business expansion experience. We're going to give everybody a minute to join. For those of you who are watching the replay, please put hashtag replay. Okay, I see some folks joining. Okay, I gotta find the comments here. Please say hi. Okay, so here's the thing. I see a bunch of hellos, and unfortunately, I cannot see your name. Okay, some of you guys figured it out. Thank you so much, Dina. Dina Jarrett clicked wherever the link. You have to click in StreamYard for me to see your name. Oh my gosh, this is one of those things I absolutely hate. Oh, Danny figured it out. I can see your name too. So it looks like this, right? Facebook user, until it doesn't. So grand rising to whoever. Okay, Rose is here. Welcome. Welcome. So click whatever StreamYard is. It's safe, I promise you. Well, I don't promise you, we don't know, but I think it's safe. Hi, so good to see you guys. So happy to be here too. And I'm really frustrated because I cannot see your names. You can see I can find my phone and track you guys. Maybe for a later session. So as everybody else is joining, I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. I want this to be an inner journey for you. I will be teaching you a lot of stuff, but if it doesn't, you need to be able to check within yourself what resonates and what doesn't. So start breathing inwards. And if you can find your heartbeat, if you can go within your body and you can find your heartbeat, that would be really good. And it goes without saying, it's a good idea to find a comfortable place and some notebooks and pens and paper. Yes, for some note-taking and also for your inner reflections. I want this to be an experience when you let go of some of the old dogmatism about how business is built. And so you can sort of move it to the next level of your inner truth, your integrity, to perfect harmony or closer to harmony. Kind of what's really good for you is also good for everybody else, right? When you really follow your calling, when you start following your inner truths, you start resonating with the people out there, with their souls. When you embody your heart and your soul, then you start resonating with the other people with their heart and souls, right? So that's welcome to the Resonance Code. All right, so logistics and reminders. Ooh, okay, I see everybody's name, or some of you guys' name. Hi, Eileen, Shayna, Karina. So wonderful to have you guys, and a bunch of Facebook users whose names I can't see. Okay, all right, so logistics. All right, so logistics and reminders. So today we have 3 sessions, 11 EST, 2 EST, and 5 EST. We have 2 hours in between. I will finish right on time. In the 2 hours, I understand you guys might have other things going on that you can't quite reschedule. I totally get that. I recommend that you use the 2 hours to journal, to go within if you can, to allow yourself to really reflect on what we're discussing here. There's going to be homework. Today is all free. It's live in the Facebook group. Tomorrow is paid. It's $150. Jay is going to put the buy link in the chat for you guys. And there's a ways to get in for free because I kind of figured, you help me, I help you. So some of the options to get in is, number 1, if you attend all 3 sessions live and you're here and we know you're here, then you can request the Zoom link for tomorrow from Team Visionary Circle account. So that's going to be all posted underneath this stream, okay? So if you're here and you do the homework, then you get in tomorrow for free. If you invite 3 people, if you can't make it live, and if you invite 3 people and they wind up in this group, in the Servant Entrepreneurs Unite group, then you also get in for free. I think that's it. Or you pay the $150. It's a much smaller group. It's going to be wonderful tomorrow. I'm really excited to have some back and forth. We're going to do some hot seats for me to be able to look at your business. I think that's going to be a huge, huge value to you. And if you can't make it tomorrow, there's going to be recordings for you as well. All right. So let's see. Real quick. There is a theme going on in my community right now, and I wonder if any of you guys can relate to this. We have done so much healing. Put a 1 in the chat if that resonates. The past year and a half has been insane, and you have done a ton of work on yourself, and feels like even the last week. We've healed so much, and then we start seeing things differently. And then the old ways of building a business, as you go through all the purging and all the letting stuff go, it just doesn't seem to really align, right? The old ways of chasing and the gettingness, the getting the client, and when you go back to business building, you tend to kind of get pulled back into the crab bucket, right? Is anybody resonating with this? Yeah, okay. I see some faces, right? So use this opportunity and set the intention for yourself. This is a really great opportunity to sort of see the next version of alignment in your business and how you do it and what kind of strategies and tactics and whatever, right? It is really the perfect opportunity. It feels like we're in a portal of some sort, although that sounds a little bit, anyway, I don't even want to use that word, but to really sort of surrender and to really open our minds to what really is possible and what could the next version of the business look like, and to really what it looks like when we really align to the truth at a deep level, right? But it feels, I don't know if you experienced this, but me and we were talking with our clients, we really have felt that it's very painful to be at this place. You feel like you're in square one. And the old stuff worked, right? When you control, when you perfect, when you check all the boxes, that stuff works. Now you're in this okay, I am in this in-between space. And I know there is the next level of motivation for my business to really be moving towards operating from a place of love, or, something really positive. It doesn't have to be love necessarily, but I'm in this place of okay, but this worked, and I'm kind of afraid what's going to happen if I transition to the next thing. And sometimes I'm even afraid to find out that I literally wasted my time, my entire life, or the past 3 years of building a business, following some sort of programming BS. I'm curious if there's anybody here who resonates with that. Because sometimes the mind doesn't even want to find out. It's let's just keep doing the things the way I really don't want to find out. No, but here's the deal. It's not just past few years. It might be lifetimes and lifetimes of doing things and thinking the same way and adhering to the old paradigms of the ego structures. All right? So, yes. Okay. To open a door, you need 2 to close, somebody says. Oh, Paulette is in the house. Wonderful. Yes, I love that. Controlling the story instead of changing it. Yes, yes, yes. There is a fear of letting that all go. Confusion. Who here has been confused? Put a yes or put a C in the chat. C for confusion. It's been so much of that. And I was talking to one of my mentors. She's like, this is a collective thing because there's so much that is getting released and so much getting healed. And I was like, how do I operate now? What do I do with this? Many C's. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's good. That seems to be the theme. Okay, so I would love to ask you for a knee-jerk reaction, like a first response, not like an intellectual elaborate, but what do you think will bring your business the success? What do you think you need to perfect? What is your ego's? What is your mind's first knee-jerk reaction? Whatever's the thing that, what do you need to be successful? Give me a word or two in the chat. Clarity, understanding the client, dedicated following, loving clients into being. Lauren says visibility. Yes, and you can steal each other's stuff too. It was like, yeah, of course. Framework, magnetism, knowledge, keep showing up. Okay. Clarity, lack of, okay. Okay, framework, being in the moment, confidence and visibility. Okay. Alignment. So, all right. Okay, so, woof. So, interesting. So here's the thing. I have built now 2 7-figure businesses and I'm learning and I'm still learning. It's like, if I tell you I know, anybody who tells you they know and they figured out the formula, they're liars. Well, they're not intentionally lying to you. They just don't know yet. Because in business, the more you know, the less you know. The more you start to observe all the things that affect our journey. It's like the less you know, it's like giving somebody a formula. If you do this and this and this and this, then you're going to be successful. Well, that's crazy, right? So those things, sure, everything that we all mentioned, that's important. But oh my gosh, there is so much. You know, there is the businessy 3D stuff, right? We have to play by some of the rules to an extent, right? So yes, have great offers. Yes, do the sales. Yes, be visible. Yes, have some clear communication, some clear messaging. Yes, be organized. Have somebody to help you. But then there's so much more, right? Number one, how embodied you're in what you teach oftentimes determines the success, which is really hard to do right now because we are embodying one thing, but not yet embodying the next thing, right? And you're in that kind of in between. And we're like, do I teach this old stuff? But that's not really exciting. But I'm like barely embodying this other thing, right? And people can sort of feel it. You guys might be getting some of that from me. It's like, okay, there's so many changes with what Eva is doing. For those of you who have followed me for a couple of years, right? It's like, you know, so that's when you're in those times of transitions, the level of embodiment matters. The next thing is like it being actually high is good for you to have those clients and high is good for them, right? What's on your journey right now, especially like the past year and a half. So many businesses have slowed down, and it's not because there aren't customers. It's not because people are not investing at all, right? It's because for some of you or some of us, it has been absolutely necessary to slow down and to do the inner work. And when we don't listen and when we don't go through the transition, the world is shifting, everybody's shifting, everybody starts listening at a higher level stuff. But if you are still teaching from the old stuff and you're not going through the transition, right? It's like, it seems to not work so well, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. Then there's the energy. And I'm not talking about high vibe. Oh my gosh. Not talking about high vibe. Like you have to be like high vibe because people are growing more and more intuitive. And if you're pretending about high vibe, well, guess what? You will attract the people who can't see through it. Okay? People can sense when you're faking rah, you know, excited, whatever, and you're really not connected and you're really not excited and you're fighting yourself on this. People can feel that, right? So authentic energy, authenticity, it's a buzzword for a lot of people and they think they need to be authentic and they talk about it and blah, blah, right? But actually allowing yourself to be where you are, right? Peeling back the layers of pretense up on pretense is so incredibly important. The next thing, there's so many. I can give you like 250 things that I think are important to success that I will never, like, my current understanding is here. You know what I mean? You will grow past me eventually. I will grow past me. It will be a different level of understanding. That understanding is always changing, right? But aligning your thoughts and feelings, your words and your actions. And that is so incredibly difficult to do. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But, follow your thoughts and your intellect, and you'll end up in the mental field. And you'll burn out. Right? I am the master of that. I am there. I can be so focused, so mental. And then I burn out. Okay? Or you follow your feelings and you follow your body and your gut, and then you hit the limiting beliefs, right? And you hit your brain getting away. So getting those things in alignment, the manifestation speeds up. But then there's the aligning with the soul, right? Because you can get all those things in an alignment without the soul being on board, and then what? Right? You will build something and you will get there, and then you will find out, okay, well, this is not really what I want. I wasn't listening to what I really wanted. It takes so much courage, especially if you're new to your business and there's everybody in the Facebook ads, everybody's telling you, you must do this and this and this and this and this, and you have to communicate in order to trick people into doing something they don't really want to do, and you're going to get your messaging perfect, you're going to get your brand perfect, and you start looking outside, and before you know it, it's like you don't even know how to trust yourself. So that brings me to this next conversation that I want to bring here for this session, that there is a process that we go through over the years of going from being the copycat, sometimes unintentional, or let's call it the translator, to somebody who's developing their own body of work content. So I'll share my story here. Right? So when I got into business coaching, I wasn't connected. I wasn't coming up with, some of my own teachings, but I was learning from the 2 top business mentors, now 3 top business mentors in the industry. I was taking every note. I was applying it. I was testing and seeing what works. I had 300 audiobooks, believe it or not. I listen on triple speed, learn everything that I had to learn. I was like a walking encyclopedia. But then what started happening, I had run restaurants before. I owned restaurants, and I was getting out of this, and I was selling my restaurant. So I was beginning to see, okay, what's translatable here? What is, I didn't call it embodied because I didn't know at the time what that even meant. But the one thing I did really, really, really well at my restaurants was letting go of control, to the point where I was going around the country in an RV, and I would pop into my restaurant once every 2 weeks, and it worked. We were not like the passion wasn't quite there anymore. But everything worked. People got served their food. People were happy. We had employees that were running the show. And so then I saw people in the brick and mortars going like, okay, well, I'm always there. I'm working 24/7. I don't know how to get out. I can't quite trust people, blah, 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 blah. So I designed a 3-month program to help people get out of that and to get them transition into really being able to step away from their business and to be able to delegate effectively, right? So that was the first programs that I was selling. And that was the beginning, right? You're going to do that and you merge it with studying with everybody else. Then the next stage is, well, okay, now I'm kind of still in between, right? Some of the things that I teach here, or I will teach here, some of those will be things that I learn from other people. And I do my best to mention them, right? I've learned from Kelly Roach in the past. I don't work with her anymore. Melanie Anlayer, lots of other people. And, in the spiritual space, lots and lots and lots of teachers. But in the end, with some of those business coaches, when I dig inside, I always have a little different thing, a little different take on things. So then you start asking yourself, what is really my take on this? How do I really see this? Not how am I supposed to see it, not what works for everybody else, but what is really my take on this? What is really my thing? And then you start developing your soul content, your soul teaching. This is so powerful. So I'm going to show this to you guys. I have 3 books that I have everywhere, like with me. When I was traveling last week, they were with me, in my hand baggage. And this one is a book of intentions, and there's my to-dos, and it's more of a practical thing. But these 2 are so important. One of them, I put stickers on there, and one of them says, unravel the truth. Why? This is where all my journeying, whenever there's a trigger in business, because business is the medicine, right? In order to expand your business, you got to be listening to the triggers. Like I was just surrendering something before we got on this call. It's like pressure to deliver. Okay, surrender, right? Go through that, feel into it, go deeper. What's there, right? So this is my journey. And for some of you who are in the spiritual coaching space, this gives you a program. Once you start doing this, you can develop a trigger-based program, because people are walking literally like 3 to 5 steps behind you, right? The things that you are transcending, it's like I deal with something, and then half of my clients have the same thing, right? This is the resonance code book, okay? So whenever I get downloads on something business-wise, whenever an idea comes through, and then it goes in here, and then I underline and highlight like topic titles. And when I'm like, okay, what am I going to teach in the resonance code? I need to flip through this. I need to look at the titles, and that's it. Okay. But the intention, the important thing is in the existence of this. You breathe your intention into this book. You don't just have a book, but you really are that. This is going to be the storage of your content, and this book is going to attract the healing. Okay, select that. I'm going to check the chat. Andrea says, love this analogy. I'm screenshotting this. Thank you. Okay, fine dining server. Someone says, I love the resonance code book. Okay, for those of you who joined late, there's a link somewhere for me to see your name. Otherwise, I just see like this Facebook user. It's extremely annoying, but we will do. Okay, so levels of teaching. There's different levels, because we're talking about developing your program. I want to give you some different perspectives and get you clear on this. So there's the mentors, there's the teachers, there's the coaches, so let's walk through this. First of all, when I looked at the life journey, and this is my current understanding that is probably going to change at some point, but we come here, we're born, we are merged with our soul, okay? And then trauma, micro-trauma, something happens and we split. Shame does the splitting. We experience shame, okay? And then we embark on the perfecting path. The path of trying to perfect ourselves so we don't experience these different shades of shame. So we start building these identities of perfectionism. We're building these identities, right? And unfortunately, the personal growth, well, actually, I'm not going to say unfortunately, because it's part of a journey, right? The perfecting is actually part of the journey. Like we chose this, right? But some of the self-help industry is actually contributing to that. It's basically teaching you, how to look better and how to be a more perfect ego and how to suppress your anger and get along with people. And, so that's still on a journey of perfecting yourself. And the density gets pretty dense, right? And the more dense it is, the less of a soul connection you have, okay? And it's all okay. It's all part of a journey. It's all part of a journey, right? It's perfect. And there is room for teachers and consultants who are still on that perfecting part of a journey, right? There is no right and wrong here. This is by design. Even the trauma, even the suffering, because as you start healing this, and this is so true for me, currently I'm following the wounded healer path, which I didn't even know was a thing, but when you start seeing these things and healing these things and going back and back and back and dissolving these identities, now you're in a healing journey back to yourself. So, with regards to, does this resonate, you guys? Does this make sense? So you're on this journey of perfecting yourself until you're not, right? Because it's gotten you so far, and then you're like, yeah, we get everything perfect. It's not working. And for me, like, I had to chase a lot of things. There were some unfinished stuff. I had to chase a lot of things. You guys, I've achieved a lot in this lifetime, and I can tell you that, and it's not bragging. It's just part of my journey. So, when I was, I think 21, I visited 30 different countries without any money, because that was like, I gotta check that off the list, that I can do this backpacking thing, I ran a 100-mile race when I was, 30, 20, something. I can't remember. I finished running 100 miles. It took me 32 hours and 12 minutes. I finished after a 72-year-old. It was great. But I had to check that off my list. And I looked the way I look now. By the way, I was not that much fitter. But it's like I had to check that off the list, right? And then build this business and that business and achieve worldly success. And it's all great until you're like, okay, well, the achieving, like I had to get it out of my system, and that was my path, right? So if you need to get the achieving out of your system, and you need to prove yourself that you can still, you can do it, and you can build the 5K, 10K, 20K, 50K, 100K months, go for it. It's totally nothing wrong here, right? I did that too. It's like a game that you play with yourself, but at some point you check that box and you're like, but is this what it's about? Right? You're like, okay, well, how about expansion? How about purifying? How about purifying all of our relationships? How about purifying our relationships with our clients? How about purifying our relationships with the community? How about cleaning up our relationship with our parents, with our kids, with the feminine, with the masculine? Like purifying and cleaning every part of the body. Expansion, letting go of all the dense frequencies. Love, bringing more love into the world. Right? Yes. Paulette says, LOL, yup, how about giving back? Yes, that's the true impact. Well, okay, there's always an impact, right? You're impacting something. So there's levels of where you can teach, depending on where you are in your journey right now. So there is different frequencies. There's different levels of consciousness you can operate at in your business. What's important is authentic to where you are right now. It cannot be like, oh, I heard something spiritual in a book or from somebody else. I'm going to repeat that. That's going to check the box on spirituality, right? It doesn't, you can do that. It's going to maybe inspire somebody, but you're not activating it within other people if it's not activated within yourself. Does that make sense? So it's really like being so fully authentic and not judging yourself as to where you are on this journey. You might be 73-year-old and you're just starting this peeling back journey, right? That's totally okay. But there's different levels, right? So first of all, there is people who are still in the realm of feeding into the perfectionism, and companies that feed into it, right? It's like a lot of the beauty companies or even coaches that tell you how to get the guy to like you. You know what I mean? So that kind of thing. Image coaching can fall under that kind of thing. And it's all good. It's all perfect, right? So you're sort of still serving the identity build out. Like you're still helping people get a bigger identity, which is okay. I've had coaches like that who were feeding into my superwoman identity until it literally like blew a little bit. And I was like, I feel so much pressure right now. This happened a year into, Lexi was about 1 year old, and I was feeling so much pressure carrying the world on my shoulders and so much in the masculine, I couldn't even. So this particular coach contributed to blowing the lid off. Okay, this doesn't work, okay? So it was like, thank you for that. You're my biggest teacher. I spent a lot of money working with her to get this lesson, right? So where you are, where are you contributing, right? On the bottom, on the consciousness scale, you kind of have the feeders, the people who still are in the feeding the human ego. Then you have the teachers, the consultants, the mentors. You know, there's a difference between each of those. So it's important for you to get clear about where you are. So the consultant says, let me come in. Let me show you how to do something in your company or in your life or in your house, but I don't need to be at your level. I'm just very good at teaching you and showing you, right? It's completely authentic, right? The teachers, I'll tell you how to do something. I'm not going to ask you a bunch of empowering questions because I don't have the patience for that. I'll just tell you how to do it. I will just teach you. Make sense? Now, there's the mentor, which is different. The mentor has achieved something, right? So the mentor is like, okay, I've achieved this. Like, for example, I can probably mentor you how to move to Nosara, Costa Rica, because I have done it. I'm here. There's no question about it. I'm really here. I'm not faking this. I'm not making this up. So, so I can mentor you on that, right? Then the next level, up in the levels of consciousness of where you operate, is what I call the liberator. So this is somebody, it's such a big deal. This is somebody who's committed, who has done their liberation within work, right? Who's done their freedom work, who's done their healing work. This is somebody who doesn't care anymore whether, your house is pretty and whether you make all the money, whatever. All they care about is your healing because they understand why you came here and what you're doing here. And they will tell you the stuff that you don't want to hear. They will activate things within you. Sometimes it's a combination of healing. Sometimes it's asking you empowering questions. Sometimes it's really triggering you and being in your face. There's some Heyoka empaths here. If you've heard of Heyoka empath, apparently I'm one. I seem to say the thing that will trigger somebody else. I'm like, oh, that's going to mean why that come out of my mouth. That's weird, right? So they're the medicine in some shape or form. They're committed to unplugging you from the collective bullshit, right? They're committed to healing your wounds. They're so committed to you not having a perfect experience. They don't care about that. They don't care about if your life is pretty and sparkling and you've got a nice car, a nice house. They don't care about that at all. They care about your freedom, right? So that's the liberator, right? And then you have the mentor of liberators. The people who understand that, yes, some work needs to be done one-on-one. One-on-one work is so powerful and so needed, and as well as group work, right? But sometimes it really is the one-on-one work that moves the needle in the liberation place. They understand, okay, I got this. Now I want to really, really assist the shift on this planet. I really want to train other people. Then you start doing certifications for other people and their modalities. You really hone your modality down. You want to right? You want to pass that. So I'm curious, what resonates with you? This is actually going to be homework too between the sessions. Like, what resonates with you? Maybe there's two different categories. Maybe it's where you're right now. Maybe right now you're the consultant, the teacher, but it doesn't quite resonate with you. You have a dream of liberating the world, but you know that you're an unbaked cake and there's some ingredients missing, because, you know, the right cake needs all of it. It needs the sugar, the chocolate, the vanilla, the all of it, right? So you still know that in order to really truly take on the world, the role of the one who really helps people unplug from the craziness, that really helps heal them, there's some things that need to be resolved. Maybe you're a liberator 100% and you have been liberating for a while, and you love that stuff so much, but you also know that it might be on your path to start mentoring other people who have been reaching your level. Maybe it's your star clients who are ready to take on who are kind of ready to take it on from there, right? And go cause more healing, more liberation. Okay, somebody says unbaked cake with some ingredients missing. Yes. Yes, Karina says it's all about liberating. Somebody says I'm a Heyoka empath. Yes. Okay, activator, major disruptor. Yes. Right? So it's like, where are you now? And your soul kind of knows where you're going. You know, I kind of do both. I really, because I do business, you know, and there's some things that it is my gift, the responsibility. It's like the logistics and the business, and how do you do this, and how do you create programs, how do you make things come together, and launching and strategy and all that. So I have that here, and then at the same time I see and I watch and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I really, really love the liberation piece so much. And I imagine, but I'm still an unbaked cake, you know. I know there's so much that I need to resolve, that I want to start bringing more and more into it, because it's so much more meaningful, right? So anyway, but it's cool. The business stuff is also so good, because then I can support you guys, the liberators, you know. Let's do the programs, you know, so you can go out there and launch it out there. Anyway, so yeah. Okay. So let's talk about programs, creating a soul-written program, right? Okay, so it's entirely different if you're building a teaching program, like a business coaching program. It's an entirely different process than if you're building a liberation program, right? The first one is going to be, all right, I'm just going to brainstorm my topics. I have 300 topics that I put together around business that I can teach you. I have like so many topics I could be talking. If you get me talking and you keep asking me questions, I could sit here for the next 7 days nonstop without sleep and just be answering questions. There's so much knowledge within me, you know? So that part, once you got that down, is very easy. And I take people through that. Like, okay, how do you pull this out of you? How do you organize it? How do you separate what's part of marketing and what's part of your paid program, right? Now, when it comes to the liberation programs, it's a lot more self-reflected. You're watching your triggers. You're getting the feedback, right? You're like, okay, I'm feeling like this. I need to teach about this. I'm feeling the confusion. Is anybody else feeling confusion? I ask my clients, oh yeah, we're in it, man. Okay, let's talk about this, right? And then you're going within and you're healing this for yourself and you're bringing this to your community, or you're working with clients one-on-one and you're collecting the topics and you're like, oh yes, this is what needs to be talked about on a scale, all right? So the creation is very, very, very different based on where you are. So this is where also, like, you need to understand who you are and how you teach and not follow somebody's formula. This is how you create a program, right? But there are so many different types of programs. Just to give you an overview, This is where, okay, before I say that, this is the part of the resonance code. You gotta be able to say this one resonates and this one doesn't, and know where it feels in your body. Okay? So I want to have one conversation with you. And it's going to be a homework before the next session. I want you to get so clear about what's a yes in the body and what's a no in the body. And what you're going to do is you're going to write down on a sheet of paper, you're going to fold it in half. On the left side, you will put the really, really the decisions that I made that were really good for my finances, for transformations, for whatever. And on the right side, you're going to write 5 decisions that you made. They're kind of like, meh. Is this clear for everybody? So sheet of paper, one side, you're going to get decisions that you made that led to something really magical. And on the right side, you're going to have decisions that led to but what's more important, you're going to track how you felt making those decisions. And you're going to tune with each decision. You're going to go back and you're going to, okay, how did I feel making this decision? And you're going to identify where it was in your body. And you're going to write that down. And you're going to get a theme. And you're going to see that the body has a response. There are some decisions that I made that were so wild and so crazy. And he was like, you're nuts. Why are you doing this? This makes no sense. But I just knew the excitement and nervousness was there. And everyone was like, no, just aren't you going to think it through, you know? But I just knew. This is like, no, this is a no-brainer for me. I bought this house last week. I put all the money that I've saved up in the past 2.5 years. I put all the money in it, but it's like, for me, it was like, yeah, of course. Like there was not an ounce of doubt. Is not like financially, it's like, it's a stretch for me because I'm a single mother to a 2-year-old. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, like now we don't have a buffer. What am I doing? Like this is crazy, you know, but it's like, for me, there's no way not to follow, right? When you know, there's no way not to follow. So I want you to do this exercise because I want you to be able to really, really hone in your yes from a no. And there's a caveat to it. There's a caveat when there's dread, resistance, and fear. When there's dread, resistance, and fear, it has to do with trauma. And when there's trauma and then when there's wounds, you get blocked from making these decisions from your true self, right? You get blocked. And so when there is like, you can't decide and you can't quite see it, that's when wounds need to be dissolved. So a lot of people make the mistake, ooh, I feel resistance, I feel dread. Ooh, it must not be on my soul path. It's probably coming from the shoulds. I'm just not going to do it, right? That's too early. That's too soon. All right. So now, is homework clear? Can I move to the next topic? I'm assuming so. Okay, so now there are so many different programs. I'm going to walk you through them so you can start noticing what is like, ooh, that sounds really exciting, and what is like, yeah, man, not really, right? Okay, so thank you guys for the feedback, Danny, Andrea, and Facebook user. All right. So let's walk through the different programs. Obviously, there's 101. You work with somebody for 3, 6, 12 months. whatever is really resonating with you, whatever really seems right for the client, because when you're coming from a place of love, not fear, you will set up the lens that it really is going to work for the person, not what you think they're going to buy. That's an energy shift, right? You create programs that will work with full trust. The trusting. Okay. I need to get back to that because that tends to be a little toxic for people, apparently. Okay. So you need to create whatever it is that you want to create, that you think that you're really excited will make the difference for people, not what you think they buy. That's the old paradigm. That applies. That is the whole thing. The whole center of the resonance code is be creating within you what feels right, following your soul, right? Not like doing a market research. Okay, my people want to only invest for 2 months and for $2, right? You're talking to their egos. You're not talking to their souls. How would you know, right? You really have to reach within you. Okay, what length of the one-on-one program makes sense? How often should I work with people? What's really good for you and what will feel really good for you? Not too little, not too much. When you do give too little, it doesn't feel right. It feels ticky, icky, right? When you give too much, you're saving and rescuing. So in between, and we heal this and we heal that so that we can come to the in between. And you put it out there because you so believe in this program. Okay? So that's one-to-one programming. Really, really good when you're starting out. If you haven't had clients yet, get some. Pro bono, whatever, start practicing. Don't let the pressure of looking like an expert on whatever, or like need to look like you have a bunch of clients. Don't let you admit that you're a student. Like it's okay. It's so totally okay to start practicing with people. And even if you have a new modality and you're not quite sure about, it's okay to do some pro bono sessions. Okay. So one-to-many. There's one-to-many, there's hybrid, and there's one masterminds, right? We've done it all. So a group program versus a mastermind. Group program is when you teach. Mastermind is when you have people whose opinions and whose intuition you value and you trust that it's a good idea to bring them to the discussion. It works like, in a visionary circle, we have a little bit of that. In some of my other programs and in beginner biggest business cohorts, we didn't, because I was the one to teach. Because if they were teaching, it'd be like blind leading the blind, right? So in some situations it will work, and in some situation it doesn't. Hybrid program is mixing the one-on-one and group together. It's really brilliant. It's really genius. I just ended a program that was running for 2.5 years. So the frequency didn't align for me anymore. You know what I mean? That's why I ended it. But what I really loved at the beginning was the mix. When I was learning, there was a mix of group sessions that I was teaching and one-to-one, to be continuously getting the feedback and to fine-tune and to be listening to their concerns, because what they bring to you during those one-on-one sessions is always magic. You're learning from it. And if you don't have the answer, sometimes I don't have the answer. Somebody asked me something on a group call or on a one-on-one. I was like, I don't have an intuitive hit about this, but I have a feeling. And then it's like my weekend is set, because that particular trigger that the client brought to me, because I have a contract with them to help them with this. I am going to experience what they're experiencing, and I'm going to get the insights to walk them through the next portion in the program. Has anybody else experienced this? That it's like the clients kind of drive your transformation. It's back and forth. It's really cool how it works that way. And when you begin being really open to the triggers and really listening to your body. Okay, I feel a pain on my right shoulder. Let me go into it. And it's like, before you know it, you're feeling the things. Oh my gosh, I'm getting all these insights. Oh my gosh, that relates to Nicola, who I just talked to. Let me send her a voice text. Okay, I have a solution for you. When you asked me this question, I didn't have the answer. It just came to me. It's so awesome. This is so magical. We're teaching each other. The clients are teaching you, you're teaching them, right? It's like we're just working this out together. It's just so awesome. And what other industry? Like, we're so lucky, guys. We're so lucky. Like, we get to teach these programs and walk in front of people, and we do our healing and we do all these things for them, but for us too, right? Yes, Danny says, be vulnerable to your clients about your process. Yes. Oh my gosh. Woo, yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's so, there's so many collective programs about that tell you you have to look a certain way, you have to lead a certain way, not just with clients, but also with teams. You have to present yourself a certain way, but then you got to ask yourself this, like, do you want to look good and people to like you, or are you committed to their transformation? And if you're really truly committed to their transformation, your honesty, and you're sharing your process, and you're sharing vulnerably, like really vulnerably, not like fake vulnerability, but a bunch of stuff added to it, like that is such a gift to them. That is such a gift to the world. And this is where I get in a clash with my former business coaches, right? They're like, Eva, you're oversharing, you're giving too much. What are you doing? Nobody's going to want to buy from you. And I'm like, yeah, well, their egos are not going to buy from me because their egos are still chasing the perfectionism. They need to, their ego needs to see me perfect, you know? Like they really need that. They really need the superwoman who is somehow like juggling it all and getting together. I'm not that. I can't be that. Like, I'm in my process, in my journey. I can't pretend that it's perfect. Oh my word. I have so much, like I'm like a beginner. I'm like, there's so much. The more I know, the more I see, the less I know. It's like, oh my gosh, there's such a huge journey ahead of us. But then it's like, you open yourself with the vulnerability, right? You're going to be attracting different level of clients, people who get it, who want to be part of it, who want a permission to be vulnerable too in your group, right? And then the key ego comes in and is like, yeah, but it's not about you. You shouldn't be sharing this. It's not about you. It's supposed to be about them. You're supposed to just hold yourself back, right? Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. That's imposter syndrome. That's just another nuance of that. We're going to talk more about marketing and sharing in the second session. So I'm going to save from some of that. So yes, Andrea. Okay. Yes. Okay. Andrea says, sharing is essential to me. I can't stand a brick wall. I had a sharing with a solicitor just over an hour ago. It was awesome. That's so awesome. You can't connect to nothing. Somebody saying, yeah, it's like, right? You want to connect to a real person. Yeah. Okay. Lauren says, the top coaches, I've seen online sharing about them. Yeah, just listen for how they're sharing, right? Yes. Eva's in the house. So wonderful to see you. I think the balance of sharing is when it's helpful to a client. I ask my inner guidance when to share. Absolutely. But when you get that intuitive, when you get that hit, this needs to come out. Like one of my clients, Christina's like, how do you churn out so much content? And it was like, I can't help it. Like when a download comes through, it's going to my Facebook page, you know? And then I decide, okay, does this make sense to send to my email list? Does it make sense to send somewhere else? But I really don't want to distract that conversation because we're going to discuss that in the marketing session. So back to the programs. So you have one-on-one, one-to-many. You have hybrid programs. When you bring the two, you have VIP days that are really magical. You can do VIP days where you really sit for hours with a client. It can be 90 minutes and it can be all day. It's like totally up to, it's totally like, what do you want to do? You can do short-term immersions. I'm going to, we have an info session on Wednesday I'm going to be doing in the group. I'm not going to talk about any of our stuff, any of the sales stuff today, probably not even tomorrow. I'll see. But on Wednesday, I'm going to be running an info session. And I encourage you to come to that, A, to find out about what we're doing, but B, also to just, you know, watch and witness how we do sales. It might be helpful to you. You might get a lot of inspiration, right? So I'm launching a short-term immersion. Why am I doing this now? This is important. The timing, the length, it has to match where you're at. There were times where a year-long program was right for me because my primary focus was stability, providing for family. My primary focus wasn't exactly a crazy super speed transformation and stepping into a new realm of new paradigm, right? Like whole reality shifts. Like right now I'm going through reality shifts. And I realized within the year-long program, it's like I started having reality shifts. You know, it wasn't fun to deal with because I started realizing like some of the stuff that I'm teaching is like, okay, well, there's so many limits. I have to switch the teaching. How do I stay in integrity with this, right? And so there are times where much shorter stuff where you can do a week-long thing, 2-week-long thing, month-long thing, right? And there's times where you feel solid, you feel integrated, you feel like there is not a wave of craziness coming and purging and transforming and transcending. That's you like, okay, now I can do like a 6-month stuff, year-long stuff. The year-long and 6-month stuff is very good for business. It's a very wonderful business decision. From the perspective is that you won't have to worry. You have people who are paying memberships for 6 months, for a year. And you can launch a couple times a year and you're not worried about how am I going to pay my bills next week, next month, whatever, right? So it's a wonderful business decision, okay? Launching every 2 months or 3 months into and relaunching the same program over and over, that can be a little bit stressful, but it really, really depends where you are. Like I'm doing a month-long thing because I don't know what I want to do after. I might want to go to the Andes and, you know, work with the shamans. Like, I don't know, right? I'm feeling so many changes and that so much is coming that it's literally impossible for me to be like, okay, I'm going to do, you know, a 6-month long, very intensive program that is, you know, if it's more than once or twice a week, once a week, that's the max that I can commit to for a longer period. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And then you have the free programs. Woo! This is what we're here for, right? So free programs, that's part of your marketing, but this also has to fill your soul. It also has to be so, like, it has to be fun for you. So you split out 10% of your content-ish. When you do your topic dump, you need to be clear on that. You split out about 10% of your content and you share that freely. You share that freely in your free group, in your version of the resonance code, in your free retreat, in Zoominars, webinars, podcasts, whatever you have, right? You keep clear boundaries because you're going to give away everything for free. I think at some point, at some level of consciousness, you can, but we're not there, okay? Let's not pretend we're there. We're not there. I'm not there. I still live in a world where I am a responsible single mother that needs to provide for her daughter, right? So 10% of your brilliance is free, shared freely, and it's on its own. It's standalone. It's goodness. It's making shifts for people. It's very, very useful. You're not withholding information. You separate topics that can be taught separately. Make sense? And then the rest is saved for your paying programs. Or you can give all your info for free and just provide support on the implementation. You can do it that way too. Whatever calls to you, whatever speaks to you. And like I said, you guys will see me shift this thinking on this because we're shifting, okay? All right, so we need to finish up because it's 10 o'clock. So really quick, reminders, and logistics. So our next session is 2 p.m. Eastern, which is in 2 hours. Homework, I'm going to post it in the Facebook group. Jay, if you could plug in the link of the Facebook group in really quick. If you have any questions about anything that can be answered by Jay, Send it to the Team Visionary Circle Facebook profile, Facebook page. Or if you have questions about working with us or anything like that. If you watch the replay, put hashtag replay and share. Today is free, live in the Facebook group. Tomorrow is paid, is on Zoom, but the times are the same. It's 11 to 5 Eastern. Tomorrow, one of the sessions is also going to be a hot seat Q&A with me. It's going to be lots of fun. And let's see. And the way to sign up for that, there's a link where you can buy tomorrow. It's $150. Or you show up to all 3 sessions live today. And, you're going to get a code. We're going to give you a code. So, so prove that you were here. So the code for this session is bunny. So you can prove that you were here. And actually, it doesn't work because the replayers will hear it too. Darn it. Okay, we'll just trust you guys. We see you. And so people who attend all 3 sessions can get in for free and do the homework, or you invite 3 folks to this group. Just trust your judgment, trust your intuition, whoever needs to be here and needs to be part of this. Yeah. And also just, tomorrow we'll have some time to meet each other, which is going to be really great, and build some community. But there's one thing about really just making friends, at least online friends, but making friends out of this. So, feel free to connect and share. And if something pops into your mind and you have something, a realization that came through for you out of this session, you want to share it in the Facebook group, please do. You're encouraged and welcome to share anything that comes through. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in a couple hours on session number 2. Bye, everybody. Yay, friends.